Howdy friends, how are you doing? Today we're going to do chapter 18, section 18.3 complements. You know that the meaning of some sentences is complete when they contain no more than a subject and a verb with perhaps some modifiers, as in I laughed or I laughed wholeheartedly. In other sentences, however, the verbs need more than modifiers to complete the meaning, as in the US government established what? The meaning is incomplete, or the astronauts are. These sentences require complements, something to complete the meaning, such as NASA, the US government established NASA, and the astronauts are courageous, to finish the meaning of the verbs. What's a complement? A complement is a word or group of words that complete the meaning of the predicate of a sentence. And as we agreed before, the predicate here means the verb. We have 5 different kinds of complements. Okay? In English, direct objects, indirect objects, objective complements, predicate nominatives, predicate adjectives. The last 2 are related to the subject. The first 3 ones are related to the object. This section will explain how each complement works to complete the meaning of a sentence. First, direct objects. A direct object is a noun, a pronoun, or group of words acting as a noun that receives the action of the transitive verb. So, there is a condition. Before a direct object, I need a transitive verb. The verb must be transitive. An intransitive verb is not followed by a direct object. Look at the example. We watched the liftoff. We watched the liftoff. The liftoff is the launching of a rocket or a spaceship. So, what did we watch? The liftoff. This is the direct object. Why? Because the verb watch needs an object. Okay? We watched the liftoff. I invited her. I invited whom? I invited her. So her is the direct object. To find the direct object, we ask whom or what, as we did in the 2 examples. Look at these examples. I was watching the show. I was watching what? The show. Okay? So the word show is the direct object. It taught me about gravity. It taught whom? Taught me. So me is the direct object. The meteor crashed into a planet. Crashed what? We don't have an object. I have a preposition. So the word planet is the direct of a preposition, the object of a preposition, sorry. And here we don't have a direct object. There are no direct objects here, because the verb is intransitive. It is not transitive. In some inverted questions, we need to reword the sentence. Reword the sentence. Which shuttle did you visit? We reword it this way. You did visit which shuttle? So the word shuttle is the direct object. Also remember that a verb may have more than one direct object, called a compound direct object. If a sentence contains a compound direct object, asking whom or what has maybe 2 answers or more. Look at the example. Buzz Aldrin explored what? The moon and outer space. So we have 2 direct objects, moon and space. He co-piloted Gemini 12 and Apollo 11 in space. What did he co-pilot? He co-piloted Gemini, this is the first direct object, and Apollo, this is the second direct object. In the second example, space is the object of the preposition in space here. So space can never be the direct object. Again, a direct object cannot be the object of a preposition. Okay? A direct object can never be the direct of the object of a preposition. I'm sorry. We have exercise 17 here. Write the direct object in the following sentences, including all parts of any compound direct objects. If a sentence has no direct object, write none. Sentence 1. In college, Sally Ride studied physics and English. The verb is studied. Studied what? Physics, first direct object. English, second direct object. Number 2. Then she applied to the astronaut training program. Here the verb is applied, and I have a preposition. So there are no direct objects. Here there are none. Let's move on to exercise 18. Use each of the following as a direct object in a sentence. Put these expressions in a sentence after a verb. The teacher loves her students. I watched the movie yesterday. They launched the space shuttle a week ago. We saw the astronauts getting into the shuttle. America established NASA some time ago. Okay, let's talk about indirect objects. And indirect objects are found in sentences that already contain direct object. But to have an indirect object, it's a must to have a direct object first. What's an indirect object? An indirect object is a noun or a pronoun that appears with a direct object and names the person or thing that something is given to or done for. Let's look at the example here. I showed Randy, the book. I showed whom? Randy. I showed him what? Or her what? The book. So the book is the direct object and Randy is the indirect object. Why? Because he is the person. This thing is done for him or to her. They gave the space shuttle a thorough cleaning. They gave a thorough cleaning to the space shuttle. So the space shuttle here is the indirect object. To find the indirect object easily in a sentence, make certain that the sentence contains a direct object. Then ask to or for whom or to or for what after the verb and direct object. After the verb and direct object. I took her the slides. I took her the slides. Took the slides to or for whom? Her. So the direct object is the slides and her is the indirect object. We sent NASA the letters. We sent the letters to what or to whom? Or for what? The direct object is letters and the indirect object is NASA. Like direct objects, indirect objects may be compound. I lent Richard and Tom my videotape. So I lent my videotape to whom? Richard and Tom. It is important to remember that an indirect object is never the object of a preposition to or for. She took the NASA souvenir for her sister. What about sister here? It's the object of a preposition. It's not an indirect object. But if we write the same sentence in another way, she took her sister a NASA souvenir. The word sister here is the indirect object. Let's move on to exercise 19. Write each underlined item and identify it as direct object, indirect object, or the object of a preposition. Look at the example. Frank gave his friends gifts. So gifts is the direct object. To whom? To his friends. Friends is the indirect object. Number 1. The tour guide told him facts. So facts is the direct object and him is the indirect object. The US government established NASA in 1958. NASA is the direct object. NASA has launched manned space shuttles, satellites, and space probes. All of them are direct objects. NASA does not oversee military developments. Direct object. The president appoints an administrator for NASA. Administrator, direct object. NASA, the object of a preposition, and so on. Let's move on to objective complements. An objective complement is an adjective or noun that appears with a direct object and describes or renames it. Objective complements are found only after such verbs as appoint, remember this short list of verbs, appoint, call, consider, elect, label, make, name, or think. The president named her what? Administrator of NASA. So administrator is a noun that appears with the direct object her, and it renames it. So he named her what? Administrator. Administrator is the objective complement. I consider her the best candidate. I consider her what? The best candidate. So candidate is the objective complement. Look at this exercise. Identify the objective complement in each sentence, then write the object that is renamed or described. The Soviet Union called the satellite Sputnik. The direct object is satellite, and Sputnik is an OC or objective complement. Okay, and it renames satellite. The scientists thought it wonderful. It is the direct object, and wonderful is the objective complement. Objective complement. Here it's an adjective. Let's move on to subject complements, and we have two. A subject complement is a noun, a pronoun, or even an adjective that appears with a linking verb. Here we have a linking verb and tells something about the subject. There are two kinds of subject complements: predicate nominatives, and here we need a noun or a pronoun, and predicate adjectives, and here we need an adjective to describe the subject, not the object. A predicate nominative is a noun or pronoun that appears with a linking verb and renames or identifies or explains the subject. Neil Armstrong became an astronaut. Neil Armstrong became an astronaut. Neil Armstrong is the subject. Became is a linking verb, and astronaut, this is a noun. So it's predicate nominative. John Glenn is a linking verb, a former astronaut and senator. So astronaut is a predicate nominative because it's a noun. Senator is another predicate nominative. A predicate adjective is an adjective. From the name, it's an adjective that appears with a linking verb and describes the subject of the sentence. Noted that the predicate adjective in the second example is compound. The surface of the planet looked hilly. The surface looked hilly. Hilly is an adjective, and looked is a linking verb. So this is a predicate adjective. P.A. Today, space travel seems plausible, adjective, and exciting, another adjective. So this is a compound predicate adjective. Exercise 21. Write the subject complement in each sentence, including all parts of any compound subject complements. Then identify each as a predicate nominative or predicate adjective. After the mission, the crew looked exhausted. So the linking verb here is looked, and the subject is crew. Exhausted is an adjective, so this is a predicate adjective, and it renames or identifies or describes the crew. For thousands of years, space flight seemed a dream. Space flight, subject, seemed, linking verb, dream is the subject, so it's predicate nominative because it's a noun. Number 2, the desire to fly remained distant and elusive. Remained is a linking verb, distant and elusive, compound predicate adjectives. And this is the end of this part. And this is the end of today's session. Thank you very much. See you in another lesson in the future, inshallah.